What's up, Philadelphia sports fans? I am Anthony Pinto,
I'm Keith Malashevsky.
and welcome to the War Room. We are War Room Philly. Keith, my friend, it's been a while. How you
Yeah,
feeling?
it's been a hot second.
How are you feeling? Most importantly, I didn't even ask you this pre-stream.
No,
I
I'm
just
all
I
right.
just complained about my own ailments.
I'm what I like to call the Joel Embiid, where I'm not quite healthy yet, but I refuse to stay off the floor.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! We don't need any kind of talks of that right now, okay? We don't need any kind of talks of Embiid and not healthy. What up,
Although
Joe? We see you in chat.
on
Uh,
that note, he actually has looked damn good by every account out there.
yeah, yeah, we're
Yeah,
getting we're getting. Have
you know, I
you?
love Glenn Robinson, Brett Brown, everybody. Chief Beef.
Yeah, yeah. Everyone's oh with the glasses. Yeah, so I'm talking about this a lot more recently. I've been having migraines, and I just bought these. They're to reduce the blue light, and since I'm literally staring at three screens right now, yeah, I'll probably I'm having headaches today. So basically, if you guys see the glasses on stream, it means my head hurts. So that's gonna be the new low key tip. That's hopefully the only time. Uh, it's true. It's true. It does make my points look better. Oh, and speaking of looking more intelligent, we got chat on screen tonight. So I hope that'll be
Oh
a.
wow, yeah, I see that.
I hope that'll be something good that the YouTubers enjoy. What up, Phil? What up, Keith? What up, Joe? I just realized I said hi to my co-host in chat, but I see you in chat, and you get what
I am.
you get a what
As
up.
always,
You know, I had
I try to talk
last
via
week.
chat and here.
Last week, I had to actually, say what up to you through chat, and I'm glad you could accompany me.
Yeah, I was
Um,
able to lay in the bed and use the phone and look because I'll tell you this, Ant, and I'll tell you this, chat. Back surgery doesn't matter how small it is. It ain't no joke.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get out of everyone. Like you quickly diverted to sports, but yeah, Keith went through some back surgery as of late, and yeah, we were. Thank you to Greg Hall of We Podcast and We Know Things for filling in a couple weeks, and
Here's the Greg.
he'll be back. He'll be back in sometime during August, probably the first week of August, if not soon after. But I've had two back surgeries. It's the worst. Oh damn, Phil, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
But yeah,
not
so
fun.
Greg will probably be back very soon in August, which will be nice because Keith, and this will be the theme tonight. We're gonna have sports to talk about. When
I'm
Greg
excited.
comes
Thank
back,
you, Joe. By
and
the way,
and the
thank
next
you.
time we're back on air, we're going to have games to bitch about, and I am so excited to be mad at something other than my own life.
Yeah, I would say it's a nice distraction for one, isn't it?
All right. So yeah, it's gonna be fun, and we got so tomorrow is Happy Baseball Day to all baseball fans.
That's why
Um,
we're wearing our jerseys.
Although of course, baseball still finds a way to mess things up because you got all day open tomorrow, and we get two games. We get two games. You messed up as always, baseball. You messed up. But then Friday we get it in full, and the Phillies are back, and I'm over the moon. We got everything. Not only that, Flyers news. Carter Hart. Speaking of backs, Keith, you were talking about your back going down. Carter Hart having some back issues. He leaves practice early. I'm having back issues. I want to end the show early. It's going around. It's like it's the new thing. What up to Murph and Jay Ziggy, Jamie in chat, two of my favorites. But yeah, more on the Jay Ziggy part there. If I can score some browning points.
And Joe, you say that Lynn Blom traveling with the team. Great news because he even got an extension.
That kid is my goddamn hero. Oscar Lindblom is my goddamn hero.
3 year extension.
So first off, if you watched him ring that bell and get cleared of cancer, and your eyes didn't start to, well up, you don't have a heart or a soul. But not only that, yeah, this kid, and I say kid because he's what, 21? Like, he's, he
Young.
he just beat cancer, and oh yeah, I want to travel with my team. I mean, if that's, first off, to all the tough guy hockey fans, that's tough guy hockey player right there. Like, and that's through and through. That's like the whole time he was like, how is this going to affect my team? He was very selfless in his fight, and yeah, he's gonna, if he travels with the team, he is technically eligible to play with the team in the playoffs. And like, look, for his own sake, he needs to gain some weight and everything. But like, what if all things go right for him and he's able to play? What a story! What if some things go wrong for other people? A player or two or something, and he's there for depth, and he ends up. Look, it's far fetched, but look, it's 2020. Everything's far fetched, right? Yeah. Not sure if you saw my post. You want that heart dedication? Oh yeah. You want that heart and dedication? Yeah. I was confused because I hadn't seen your post, Murph. So I was like trying to read and think at the same time. And like you said, I'm wearing the glasses, but it doesn't make me more intelligent. Keith said. But yeah, we got a little bit of everything tonight. Since Keith's back, if anybody wants to bring up any old topics, they're back on the table. It's been 3-4 weeks since we've had Keith on. So yeah, it's all out there on the table. Chat, as always, we're the co-hosts and you're the hosts. But yeah, getting into it right away, Keith. Like I was saying, we do have baseball. And actually, let me pull up on my phone here. We got, right before we came on, actually we got two kind of tidbits for baseball.
Real quick before you get to that.
Let's go. What you got?
Lindblom, by the way, is a finalist for the Masterson Trophy, which is the Perseverance and Courage. So, want to throw that out there.
I dare the NHL to not give it to him.
And it's $3 million a year for his contract, and he is eligible, as Joe said, to play in the playoffs if he's feeling up to it.
If he travels with the team too, yes. Yeah, he's got to travel with the team, which he's going to do. So if and when, I should say. But yeah, it's gonna be. It'll be. Look, just having him as like a like rallying cry, for lack of a better term. Just having his presence in the locker room could really be uplifting to that team. And again, it'll be interesting to see how the NHL bubble goes. We've seen the NBA bubble, and boy, guys, I don't know if you do, but you need to be on Twitter and Instagram. The NBA bubble life pages are phenomenal. Seeing what these guys are doing, I can't wait for the hockey ones to come about or about. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. You got, and then I'm glad Joe mentioned it, because yeah, you got Coots is up for award, and Alain Vigneault is also up for an award too. While we're talking about all those awards. So happy to have sports back. Can't wait to talk results with you guys next week. Unfortunately, I have to go to dinner. Let's go, Phils. Hype for Joe Girardi. Murph, thank you for tuning in. And as always, you can feel free to tune in. Keith, were you having some issues?
No, okay. Something felt off because I was like, what feels off? I don't have headphones on, and it makes it a little less laggy when I'm looking at your face when I have headphones on.
Perfect. I like it. I was just like, I'm looking, and I noticed you hadn't said anything in a bit, and I'm like, is his mic down? Because I was just rambling and didn't realize. MLS bubble did not turn out that great. Dallas and Nashville had to drop out of the tournament from all the positive tests on the team. Yeah, that's true. So go twofold with that. That's true. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because soccer is so far down on my lowest of low. But I don't think they've had too much since then. And for NBA, they just had 0 positive tests come back within the bubble, and they did like 360 some tests. So that's positive. And yeah, that's, we're gonna continue. They had it. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That was before the bubble. That was like they came in with it, which was not like not ideal. But yeah, it seems that like while we're on the subject of testing, the NFL just signed a contract with a private contractor. It's to get redundant, but and remember, Keith, what was my one thing when this first started, which feels like forever ago.
I know where this is headed.
I was like, we can't be having sports if testing is still, if we can't get testing. And what these leagues are doing is not only are they're getting their own testing from their own, but they're flooding the market, and they're putting more tests out there by hiring these private firms. And now that they're manufacturing for the public. So it's done, for lack of a better term, right. For however right is in 2020, and right now. So this will be a situation that week by week we're going to talk about, unfortunately. But hopefully, once we settle in, like once we see the hockey numbers, all these numbers throughout the leagues, for the most part, have been positive, in a good way. Like they've been negative, which is positive. In the real world, sorry, I was starting to go into an Office quote. But
still haven't really watched much of that show.
That's okay. It is what it is. I think you would like it, knowing our sense of humor.
I've seen a lot because of being at your house when we were doing shows.
Yeah, it's
I do enjoy it.
Oh my god, we used to do shows in the same room. How about that?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, my gas tank likes this a lot better, but
it's we're making it work for us, right?
I'd say I miss hugging you, but we didn't hug, so
we every now and then we get the bro hug. We did like the Roger Goodell, but yeah, I miss your scent. I miss your laugh.
I went to go take a sip of my drink, and I'm so glad I did not get that far, because it would have been all over the camera.
Yeah.
I'm already having enough problems with this thing going out of focus, let alone a lockdown.
Oh man. So yeah. But and speaking of the MLS, while we're on the subject, I mean, hey, the Union, now they tied their last game, I believe, so they're 2-0-1, if I'm not mistaken. I actually paid attention to the first 2 games, and if there was more than 3, then you can see I fell off after those first 2 games. But I tried.
You did.
That was the most attention I've ever paid to soccer. And in fact, I even listened to one of the games, and I watched until I fell asleep. And I'm not saying that as like a diss. I just legitimately fell asleep the second game. But yeah, it's we're as far as like this whole situation goes, it is what it is, and now it'll be interesting. Look, the Flyers are going to travel. Keith, real quick, just some quick hockey talk, because I want to use it to transition into other things. What are your expectations for the Flyers? And this is something we'll probably bring up more again, but like real quick, what's like, maybe not expectations, but like what's the bare minimum that this team has to do?
They gotta win it all. No, I'm joking.
Hey, look, I'm on record as saying it can happen.
It can happen. No, I think that I want to see a deep run. I'm not saying they need to win it all. Obviously, that's what I want, and I feel like they're capable of it. But I think that if they lose in the first round, it's a disappointment. They lose in the second round, depending on how it goes down, it could still be a disappointment. That's how strongly I feel about this team. When you're going into a round-robin tournament with the possibility of taking the number 1 seed, you got to do what you got to do and get to that point to where you can go ahead and get that, I guess, home ice advantage that doesn't really exist, but you got to get up there and you got to get the favorable matchups. I feel confident with this team. They were rolling hot, and I think this reset can, I know it sounds crazy, can favor them because now they understand throughout the season they had a good thing going. They have some confidence under them. And I feel like this time off has only helped with some of those players. I don't know if we see Nolan Patrick, but the fact that we've had this much time off has only helped the possibility of seeing people like that, seeing JVR come back. It's only helped this team get stronger.
Yeah, I totally agree. Now, I can distinctly remember arguing with a Joe Heston Flyers Cup crazy in chat about very early on in this season with me being lax, for lack of a better term. Oh, whatever this team does, I'm just gonna enjoy it. There's no expectations. It's house money. Phrases I've used, throughout this season. I was dumb. That's all out the window. We reassess things. Not that I was dumb. I just like to make fun of myself. But now that we've seen what we've seen, this team has to start putting a stamp of success to its brand, and they need to win at least a round. And like you were saying, this is something that we're gonna reevaluate everything if they go into this and they're all of a sudden a 1 seed. So we're gonna have to see how they look and what happens and who's healthy. Like, we have Carter Hart going. Everything seems to be fine now, just back spasms. But that being said, like, this is gonna happen across, specifically basketball and hockey with the long layoff that they had. You're gonna have some injuries. Forget COVID. You're gonna also just have muscle pulls and these things from such a long layoff, and then going right into what is essentially playoff style hockey and basketball.
I mean, Saturday at 3, we have the Flyers starting that round robin, and Sunday at 3, and Saturday night at 7:00, we have the Sixers getting the first action. I mean, that's we're diving in
next
here.
Saturday.
Yeah. Excuse me, next Saturday.
Yeah, we got scrims this weekend, so you are right in that as well.
We do have scrims. I meant next Saturday. You were correct.
Yeah. Just get me wrong. I'm right there with you, where I'm like, oh, hey, we're there. But yeah, we're gonna have baseball, this weekend, real baseball. And then starting next week, we get real hockey, real basketball. It's gonna be a much needed escape for all of us. Let's be real. And as long as all these leagues continue to stay safe, it's gonna be much needed. Have you seen the court for?
I actually haven't.
For the NBA, I'll try to pull it up, and since you should be able to see, it might be a little lagged.
I heard it's pretty cool.
Bubble court, I guess is the way to put it. An NBA bubble court. Is that how you Google things?
That's exactly what I was doing.
I'm trying to find a good one, but I can't, and I don't want to spend too much time. So
I'm looking at it.
I'll keep finagling throughout. But yeah, there's a couple good ones. Like, here, let me do this real quick. So I got you off screen for a sec, but yeah, there's one with like the screens are gonna take up a lot of the stands and stuff, and it might get distracting to the players if there's these huge court length screens doing stuff. But we'll see. I think it's a good, for lack of a better term, in today's day and age, it's a good look. It doesn't look empty. They kind of like, it looks like they're gonna condense camera angles and kind of just keep everything toy like a toy gun.
I've heard there's gonna be some interesting angles from baseball, from NHL. I've heard there's gonna be some pretty interesting things happening.
Yeah. Speaking of interesting things, and while you just set me up for a layup, what do you make of the Phillies now getting in on the putting cardboard fans in the seats? And,
I think that's awesome.
Yeah, you would.
I'm so lame. Like, I know I'm lame, and that's fine. I think that's great. Now, what I would love them to do is set up like some GoPro action and be able to have like that YouTube feed or whatever, where you can live stream from a certain seat.
Yeah.
I like that idea. But
Okay. I like that. I like where you're at.
hey, you want to come, you want to tune in, maybe donate this much to this charity and go ahead and get this view.
Yeah, War Room Philly streams. I'm down.
I like that.
No, and that's that. Look, that was the one thing I wanted to make sure I got out there. It is good that it's for charity, and this isn't a cash grab or just like, anything. It is going to charity, which is nice. But so here's my take, if you will, on what baseball has been doing in these scrims. When I think it was the first night, they did it for a couple innings, and they told you we're gonna do it, and they played just low chatter, like the what you hear while the pitcher's pitching. They were playing that kind of the whole time, and I kind of liked. It was over the TV, and it felt it felt all right. It didn't take me out of my settings or surroundings by any means. Now what they've been doing as of late, and I guess because the players want it, maybe, I don't know, but they're doing it through the stadium speakers now, and it's like it's awkward. Did you hear any of it?
No, I'm guilty. I haven't really watched much of anything, just because I don't know if I can handle it quite yet. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things where if I get it, I'm gonna want the real thing.
Yeah.
And I've been catching recaps and the like, because of course, the scrimmages started to happen immediately once I go back to work. Not the 2 weeks I was out of work. No, it couldn't be then. No, it's immediately when I start going back to work. So I haven't really gotten to do that. So I haven't heard any of that live, but I'm a big fan of not pumping in sound.
Yeah, and here's my you can go to Phillies YouTube and you can watch some, a couple innings of each game where they've tried I just lost. You still there? I think I lost Keith. And let me there he is.
Yeah, I pressed the wrong button.
I was just about to hide. I had myself on two screens and it felt real sexy in here.
I would say you probably are feeling a little bit.
No. So I got totally sidetracked as to what I was saying now. But
you said you can go to the Philly YouTube.
Oh yeah. Look at Keith. You can check out the YouTube channel, and that will they have the games, and I'll be honest, I watched, but towards like the 7th, 8th innings when there was like fat coaches in the game, that's about when I started tuning out. Although maybe that was when you really wanted to tune in.
That's probably about the best time.
But real quick, also chat. I'd like to know if anyone caught Ruben Amaro Jr. doing the game.
Yeah, I'm good.
Because I, for one, did, unfortunately. And look, all previous quarrels aside, at least as much as I can put him aside, he's not a good broadcaster. He's great for golf. He's so bad for baseball. Made me miss Kevin Franzen like a lot. And I think I do low-key love Kevin Franzen. Although he's like a total dork. And it's like, I think that's what I love about him. But Ruben, my God, he makes... Like, the knock on baseball is that it's slow, boring, and then you listen to him talk baseball, and it's slow, boring, monotone, like, no inflection, never goes up and down with his voice, like, and I do things better than him, and that's not a boast on me, that's just saying how bad he is. And it's like, it's clear that he hasn't done broadcasting, and that you and I have more... like experience at it than him.
He's awful.
And then not only that, he kindly reminds us that he fired Charlie Manuel, and he's starting to give these takes on baseball. I'm like, I hate everything that is in your brain about baseball. I've seen what you've done. Like, I can't trust your word on baseball. And I don't know if that's just me being a jaded, rude, like, maybe, like I said, I try to be, when I come here, I try to be down the middle, and I put my fandom to the side. But correct me if I'm wrong. He makes Wheeler look like Vin Scully. That's what I'm saying. Like Wheeler again, total dork, but he's got personality, and that's what you. Ruben Amaro would be a better play-by-play than color analysis. Like you need like think of all of the color like guys that we've had. Sarge, Wheeler, like these guys have like Kruk. Like they're all personality. Ruben
I do
Amaro
like
Jr.
Kruk.
Kruk's the best. Kruk
like
did it
Kruk.
nationally, and I don't know how the booth is gonna work this year. If they're gonna have rotating or what it's gonna be, but the games. Here's what I'll say: I'm a dedicated Phillies fan, but I will be rooting like hell that another one of our teams is playing when Ruben Amaro is doing games, so that I can watch the Phillies on my computer screen or something, and have like that's how look. In the beginning of the season, that's how it's going to be anyway. The Flyers and Sixers are going to take priority. Even though baseball is my favorite sport, playoffs, like playoffs matter more. All four teams are my favorite teams. Like I don't have one over the other. So yeah, as much as I love baseball, like it's gonna be if basketball, if the Flyers are on and the Sixers are on, it's gonna be Flyers, Sixers, and then then baseball. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, for the record too, I want people to know that it will be Flyers over Sixers this year, and every year. It's always how it is. It's just how it it's what we do. But yeah, getting into just the last little bit while we're talking baseball. How about that Mookie Betts signing, Keith?
That's gonna ripple across effect wise, much like we were talking today in our 3-man chat. It's interesting to see that.
Yeah, and no, Joe, there is nothing. Maybe the Super Bowl because it's one game, but there's nothing better than playoff hockey. Because like for football, every game is kind of do or die in its own little way. You know, it's one game a week, so they're all kind of intense. And like same for hockey, but there's still 82 games, so it's up and down. It's got once playoffs hit for hockey, it's just up and away. It's just full throttle. It's intense. It's gonna. I'm curious to see how they're gonna handle, like what their rinks are gonna look like and the crowd noise or whatever. And that is definitely, it's gonna take away from all of it. We'll eventually, get used to it. And hey, at this point, it's absolutely better than nothing. So yeah, I'm ready. Let's go. But it'll be kind of curious to see how the NHL does it. And but yeah, nothing better than playoff hockey. But yeah, I'm sorry. Back to that Mookie Betts thing that you were talking about, Keith.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to look at it. I mean, it was a pretty big deal. It was 365 over, what was it, 13 years, 12 years, something like that. I guess 13 this year. That's a big deal. I mean, obviously it's not Mike Trout money, but nobody gets Mike Trout money. It sets the market, and it really.
Bryce Harper don't get Mike Trout money.
I was gonna say he got 330 last year. Was that what that deal was?
I think it was 300 across 13, right?
Something like that.
Yeah, or 300. Yeah, you're right. 330 across 13.
Yeah.
So Mookie goes in between Trout and Bryce.
It's the next year that's expected. You always have a little bit more the next year, especially because cap rarely falls; it usually rises. All of those things. So I'm not shocked by this. I mean, good for LA in the sense that it would have sucked for them to trade for him and then get nothing after this year. I would have loved that because I hate the LA Dodgers. So that would have been my thing as my pillow falls off my chair and you see me weirdly shimmying there. It also makes JT Realmuto the top free agent next year because, the pandemic's happening, so we can't negotiate with our top free agent.
Yeah, because we're not a quasi-billion-dollar baseball team. Yeah, we've laughed at that when it first came out, and yes, now it's like proof in the pudding, if you will. But yeah, that was. Look, as soon as it happened, I saw the thing and I immediately took to Twitter, and I do it once a week now. I just hashtag sign JT just to make sure it's out in the ether. And I just, I encourage everyone to do it. Hashtag sign JT. I'm going to get my JT jersey. That'll be the next one to come. But yeah, that's what it is. It's all about signing Real Muto, and we kind of were talking about it, and it's not gonna. You're not when you hear he's not gonna get Mookie Betts money. He's gonna get 25 million a year, roughly, give or take, and probably for like 5 to 7 years.
And that makes sense. That does make sense.
So it makes it if you do it at 5 years, it makes it by the AVV, the AVV. I think I said AAVV. The AVV, it'll make it the highest catching contract, and that's ultimately that's what he's going for. He's the best in the game. He wants to set the precedent for catchers in front of him, the younger catchers that are going to be going for it, and they want to keep pushing the envelope for his position. And yeah, and like you, I don't want to steal your point from you, but you mentioned so eloquently in our chat between you, Greg, and I today. If they're doing the DH, this is one more reason to sign him.
That's exactly right, because even if it's all over a couple of years, and I know people have been like, well, he's 30, like, how much longer is a catcher going to be? Listen, if he's that old and you give him a 5, 6 year, 7 year contract, guess what? He can move to DH because he is a damn good hitter, which is why last week in the chat, I wanted him at the 2-hole, because the 2-hole hitter after McCutchen, that's 2 people on base that you're pretty much guaranteeing for Bryce Harper and that 3 spot. That's why I liked him. He's a consistent hitter, not just for power, but he hits his doubles, he hits his singles, he hits his home runs. He's a consistent hitter with a 275 average last year. Yeah, probably the best hitting catcher in baseball.
Yeah, and I mean, not to mention, did you see Kingery tried to steal on him? And yeah,
not gonna do that. Not gonna do that.
Yeah, no one's stealing on him, even in inner squads. No one's getting in on. Like, remember defensively what this guy brings to the table too. Yes, you mentioned it perfectly about his offense, but remember what Chooch meant to this team. JT is that as well, and probably, I mean, no disrespect to Chooch, JT is better in every way. And again, that's not a slight to Chooch. Chooch is my man. But JT Realmuto is the best catcher in the game. And unfortunately, Chooch was never that, especially with that, Yanier Molina guy and things like that.
Yeah,
But right now, Realmuto, best in the game, hands down. And they have to. There's actually a live basketball game on right now. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to go watch some sports. No, I'm just kidding. So it's definitely something that look, they got to get it done. You can't let him get to the open market. You cannot let JT Realmuto get to the open market unless you really you want to outrageously overspend, because he's the only. It's him or McCann, I think, is the next best. Or there's nobody else on the market for catchers. You gotta get him done before he goes to the open market. It would be ludicrous if they did anything otherwise. And then our baseball notes, I just realized I never got to the first one or the second one. But yeah, so we did just get this little tidbit that Zach Wife, and more specifically his Zach. Did I just say Zach Wife?
You did.
Zach's wife is what I said. You're dumb, guys. You heard wrong. I didn't misspeak. Zach Wheeler's wife had their first baby on Monday night. So it looks like we're going to get, at least for the first round through, it looks like we got a little bit of a rotation. And we have Nola, obviously, Friday. Zach Wheeler will start Saturday. Vince Velasquez, Sunday. Jake Arrieta, Monday.
I'll take it.
And I guess I would make Eflin your 5, I would guess.
Yeah, I mean, if Velasquez is in there, then Eflin's got to be your 5th. I don't see Pavetta beating Eflin just based on last year, unless for some reason the pitching coaches really don't like Eflin, but he's at least been able to give you half a season versus Pavetta, who blows up every other game.
Yeah, I personally like the transformation of Pavetta towards the end of last year in the bullpen. So I like him as maybe your 6th starter / long relief. And just based off of that, because I have more faith in that one position, I'll roll with Eflin. And then you have to remember you probably get Spencer Howard and potentially Eflin out or Velasquez out once Spencer Howard comes into the fray, because I have no doubt in my mind that kid is coming right back up after his week. I think that I think Alec Boehm and Connor Brogdon will all be up after their first week, so they get an extra year of the Phillies get them one more year before they hit free agency by waiting the in this case this year just the week.
I made myself just really sad.
What happened, Keith?
I'm like looking at the free agents for 2021 just because I was like, oh, who are the top ones? And like, Real Muto's younger than me. like
hey, that makes me happy at this point, because I need Real Muto to be as young as possible if I'm about to give him the years that we got to give him.
George Springer is the same age as me. Yeah. Like, I'm looking at these guys thinking, oh, these are kids. And I'm like, oh, no.
Hey, I'm young, too. Screw it.
Stroman's 29, which, by the way, speaking of Marcus Stroman, he just tore his calf muscle, so he's not going to be doing too much.
So he shouldn't have traded for him after all. Screw him. No.
Yeah.
We won the deal. That didn't happen.
Yeah, so because, like, I've been looking at it, and I've been looking at predictions like crazy to slide into another baseball point here. And the Phillies have been consistently pegged as the 4th out of 5th in our own division. And I just don't agree with that. I just cannot agree with that.
That the Phillies, you said?
That they are looking at the Mets, the Nationals, and the Braves as all better than us.
Look, here's what I will say.
Can't do it. I can't see that.
I think that locally we're sleeping on the Mets, and I think nationally teams like Reese Hoskins actually just said, they're sleeping on the Phillies.
I don't think we're sleeping on the Mets for this reason. They now are without their 2 of their top 3 starters in the rotation. They have DeGrom and then who?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they have almost nobody in the Mets rotation at this point.
And yeah, to your point, something like a 5-13 start or 5-12.
I can thank you.
You're selling. You're like, you know what I mean? You're already looking to sell. So
because you're going DeGrom, Matz, Porcello for your top 3.
Yeah,
that's not great.
Can Arrieta be an X factor like Joe was saying in chat?
Arrieta can be an X factor.
He's going to be an X factor no matter what, right?
Because he can either sink you or he can take you real far. Because if he becomes listen, if he can be a solid 3rd starter, just solid, you're great. Because I mean, everything rides on Wheeler. If we're really talking about what's going to be an X factor, Wheeler's your X factor. Because depending on how he does, that's your whole rotation. Because going from Nola to Wheeler, if they are the top of the rotation guys that we think they are, Arrieta, Velasquez, and Eflin, your 3, 4, 5, don't matter nearly as much. I'm not saying they don't matter at all, because 60-game season, every game matters probably like 3 times as much as it did before. Everybody needs to do great, because if you have your top 3, if you don't have a good top 3, you're not going to go very far right now.
Yeah, and when Spencer Howard gets in there at your 3, you're gonna have a good top 3 too.
I was so sad to see him down. I was so sad.
I knew. And like I said,
it's a service time thing.
It's you. So especially for a pitcher, he misses a start, and then he comes in, and so look, I'll be sad if they don't put him in that rotation immediately. because to me he's the X factor. Because if you get somebody that pitches to the caliber of an actual 3 on this team, which I honestly think he can, yeah, you're gonna see just life shot into the starting rotation. And on the other side too, Connor Brogdon, a guy that I really kept my eye on throughout scrims and what I could see on TV. Boy, he pops. He pops on the screen, and he's done pretty well in summer camp. Another guy I fully expect. Now, again, this is just my opinion. I'm not going off of what I'm hearing. But with what we know and how this season's going to work, and you can get the jump, with the roster, get these guys in there. I think Brogdon is going to be an X factor in the bullpen just as much as Howard can be to this starting rotation. I'm really excited to see.
I'm very excited for him.
Because if these guys, maybe this is a little bit of the Phillies fan in me, but if a guy like Spencer Howard hits for your rotation, this team's going to the playoffs. Like that to me is how close they are to being a playoff team, but it just comes down to getting lucky. And it's your bullpen too. Look, every Phillies fan, what's your biggest concern? It's the bullpen, right? So, again, if you can get a guy like Brogdon to just be hot through the course of 60 games, that's another winner, another couple wins that your bullpen steals you. And that's every little bit is going to count. And I think that, the outside world is probably underrating the Joe Girardi factor a lot in a 60-game season.
I mean, that's big. I mean, manager in this sense, doesn't account for a lot in a long season, but in a short season where you're going to have to make some moves and you're going to have to be savvy to see how long you're leaving your starter and how many innings you're going to have a reliever out there, who you're going to pinch hit in this situation, your players out in the field. That's even got to shift a little bit based on everything, because your games are going to be a little bit more rapid fire, so people aren't going to get the normal rest they would think over a given week. You're not going to have that normal schedule, so you're going to have a lot of people out of their normal rhythm that you're going to need that manager to be able to actually manage. Like, this is something that is big here. So I'm excited to see how much Joe Girardi's really going to make an impact here. And he, as Joe was talking about with Arrieta, could be an X factor in that sense.
Yeah, throughout a short season, you're gonna have a ton of X factors, and yeah, I think that Girardi having that presence, having steady bullpen roles, is really gonna make a big difference. Having the fact that he has knowledge already, 11 years of experience in the American League with the DH, and with that 11 years of managing bullpens, which, look, no disrespect to Kapler, you don't just learn how to manage a National League bullpen overnight, and that was definitely his one of, if not his biggest downfall. For me, it was any time he put the pitcher in 8-hole, I already knew it was a loss. But yeah, it was things like that. You're not gonna have this year. Actually, you wouldn't have had that anyway with DH. But it's. I do think that this team will benefit. I actually think that Girardi means more in a 60-game season. Excuse me, a 60-game season than a 162-game season.
I would agree. I think the expedited season, like I said, there's a lot more moves that need to be made given the circumstances.
And just mentally, he's gonna have to be and same with Bryce and the communal throughout the locker room, but the leadership, we've said this with Vigneault, we've said this with as possibly being a weakness with the Sixers. Like, we've talked about how, with everything going on right now, leadership means a lot more. And this is from a person, Keith, how many times have I downplayed the leadership? It's all about talent. Like, when we talk hockey,
Yeah.
I can remember the Kevin Christian shows back in the day when he was on as the third man at Radio Bucks. I remember having, like, the Flyers don't need leadership. Like, it was me being like, the Flyers don't need leadership. They just need to score goddamn goals. It was back in those days. But yeah, it's throughout all of sports, managers, coaches, and players are really gonna have to step up. And to that whole thing too. Embiid was on saying that the whole bubble has really gotten this team, like, I think the Sixers might gel from it. But yeah,
I think the break is gonna be huge for the Sixers. I think they're the ones that benefit out of Philadelphia the most, that benefit out of this. So,
well, I still go Flyers just because, like, I see what you mean. Like, as far, like, I don't mean to cut you off, but like, the Flyers can get the 1 seed. Yeah, the Flyers just got super lucky with how things could potentially go. Obviously,
I think that would matter more if there was fans in the stadium. That's what I'm saying, because now we get Ben Simmons and Embiid 100% healthy, no catches, and they're I think even Josh Richardson was a little banged up. I think Horford was a little banged up. I think pretty much our main 5 players, everybody was pretty banged up except for Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Thank God we don't, like, just in general. Thank God we don't have Kapler again, because, like, seriously, remember when the off season for baseball first started, it didn't seem like we were gonna fire Kapler, and it was like, what the hell is going on? Why are you bringing this guy back? Do not do this to us again. To go from Gabe Kapler to Joe Girardi, it's gonna feel a lot like what the Flyers did, to be honest with you, to go, to like from such a big change. So yeah, it'll be really fun to see. Fantasy baseball, huh?
Yeah, I'm not playing it this year.
Yeah, that's
we had the option to not do that this year, and I pushed it, but Joe asked, so I decided to chime in and chat, so we didn't spend too much time on air about it.
Yeah, how about that? It's been a while since we did any fantasy sports talk, but yeah, it's good to see it back. So yeah, getting back into to wrap up, I guess the Phillies talk. But yeah, going on. I guess it's, if there is any more Phillies talk, let us know. I guess, well, here's the thing. We got to do, it's the, for before the seasons, we got to do some predictions, I guess, right, Keith?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I meant to prepare for that, and I didn't. But yeah,
I got my number right in my head, man.
So it's a 60-game season. I'm gonna get some over-unders.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, I'm just gonna. I forgot that, like, betting is legal now, and if I type things like that in, I get, like, sent to real sports, like real betting sites, and like not actual. Okay.
I think the Phillies are sitting around 31 and a half, if I'm not mistaken, for wins.
Yeah, the over under on the site that I'm on is 31. So, I mean, I know I'm gonna sound like Homer there, but I think that's an easy over.
That's an easy over.
Maybe not, easy, but that's, I think they.
I think it is. I think they do, because, like I said, so they've been pegging the Mets, the Nationals, and the Braves all to get far more than that. And now, granted, they have I think the over under for the LA Dodgers, like at 38 or 37 and a half, somewhere around that. 38 is what I'm looking at on CBS. So I'm thinking realistically, like, my number that I had in my head was 35 and 25. That's what I'm looking at for the Phillies win, and I think that gets them to the playoff. As my computer starts to have noise come into it, uh, but 35 and 25 is what I'm looking at for the Phillies this year, and I think that gets them to the playoffs with or without the expanded playoffs that may happen.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. I'm glad you brought that up. I knew there was something I was forgetting. But that was another thing. Again, right before we came on, this was sent to us by Greg from John Heyman. Sources: MLB and Union are re-engaging on the possibility of expanded playoffs for this season. Has to be done before first pitch, which is, you know, 24 hours, 23 hours from now. But there seems to be optimism. Hope was to go from 10 to 16 teams. Do you want 16 playoff teams in a 60-game season?
No.
No?
No.
I would. In a 60-game season, weirdly, I would. If this is what I've been saying baseball needs to do in general, shorten the regular season, expand the playoffs. So if it took a pandemic for them to friggin' try it out, it would be another, sort of silver lining to all of this.
I like the smaller amount of teams in the pandemic year, and I know that puts us at a disadvantage. I mean, if they get expanded playoffs, we're in. Like I can just kind of like sleepwalk through 60 games because we're in. I just don't see us being that poorly. That out of the 8 teams in the National League, that we wouldn't be one of the top 8 in the National League.
Yeah, I mean, and then Joe says, why even have a season? It makes it mean nothing. I mean, it's already, again, at 60 games, it's kind of a sprint, and you might not have the best team win. And if you put 16 teams in, then you might get the best team to win, depending on how the playoff format goes. So, I mean, I like it, and I know as weird as it sounds, because I usually stay like old school on the baseball thing, but I personally like it.
Yeah,
And
I mean, I'm not going to say that I'm going to be upset if it happens because, all right, there's more playoff baseball where it gives people a chance. I get it because it gives people a chance to settle in. So you end up with more of the league there and you get more meaningful games at the end of the year when things are going to be there. It also extends their chances for revenue, which is huge. So I get all of it.
yeah, um, it'll definitely it'll be interesting. But yeah, like I said, I want it. I want it for sure. I think I don't think it'll happen, but I would absolutely love the 16 teams. I think it just gives us more baseball.
Yeah.
So maybe that's ultimately why I do it. But yeah. As far as that goes, it'll be fun to see. But yeah, I want to kind of smoothly transition into Sixers talk as we try to wrap up a little bit on time tonight. But yeah, we were talking earlier about the bubble and all that fun stuff and how it's like bringing this Sixers team together. And you even said that you think that this layoff could be best for the Sixers out of all Philly
They
teams.
actually had Zoom chats every night of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Every single night, the team got together, whether it was with or without coaches and management. The team got together on Zoom calls to further their chemistry and kind of be able to be like talking to each other. So I think that's huge. I know that's underrated, I'm sure, at a certain point because it's technology, but I feel like you got your team that healthy now, you got your team talking to each other. It wasn't together in the form that it is very long at all. So I'm feeling here, we're looking at this. We have, like you talked about last week, we have a brand new setup in the sense that Simmons is moving to the 4. And I stick by my words in chat last week. I love it. I love everything that's happening. And it's not the same reason that everybody else loves it. We're like, oh, that's where he belongs. I just think that the offense is still going to run through them for the most part. I feel like it's just more positionless basketball. You just have more shooters on the floor, and you're going to get the right spacing. So I'm looking here. I'm looking at a healthy Ben Simmons who's going to have something to prove. You're going to have a healthy Joel Embiid with something to prove. He doesn't have to hold much back because you have 8 regular season games, and then you have your playoffs. I think this is going to be fantastic for the Sixers, and I see them really making some noise and saving Brett Brown's job.
Well, in my opinion, they have to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals to do so.
I don't, and we've talked about this before. I don't think you actually have to make it that far to save Brett Brown's job, given the circumstances of the year.
I think, given the I'm being nice. It would have been NBA Finals, but given the circumstances, I'm throwing them a little bit of a rope and saying just make it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
I just think with the pandemic and with the weird bubble city and with the stop and start, there's enough argument that Elton Brand can make that.
Oh, and he's going to make it, I bet too.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I actually feel good about the Sixers enough that there was a conversation on one of the stations about who the next MVP would be in this city as far as postseason, regular season. Ben Simmons was my answer because I feel like Ben Simmons is going to be that big of a force in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think the Sixers are going to the finals.
Yeah,
I know that's insane, but I think they're going to the finals.
I don't know that it's insane, because look, I think the Flyers are going to the Cup, but I don't know that it's insane, but here's the thing: we have never seen this new starting lineup on the court together this season. Like, we've never seen 1 through 5 Shake, Jay Rich, Toby, Ben, Joel. We've just never seen that. That could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing. We'll see. Personally, I wanted Ben to stay at the 1. I wanted Thibault on as the 3. Tobias Harris, we got him to be a stretch 4. Make him that, not your stretch 3. So I wanted Ben, Jay Rich, Thibault, Toby, and Joel. I think that putting Thibault on the court as your starter provides... So both Thibault and Shake have the same, knock, if you will. They're young. We don't know what we're going to get out of them at this point in the season. With that in mind, I'm going to go with Thibault, even when he struggles, plays rock-solid defense. So I can bank on that, and then I can start spreading the ball out early and often to Jay Rich, and more specifically to Tobias Harris, because I want Harris getting looks early and often. And I want Embiid getting involved, and to me, if you have Thibault out there, it's one less mouth to feed, for lack of a better term. Now, with Shake holding onto the ball and being your primary 1, you'll still see Simmons, I'm sure, play the 1 offensively and dribble up. But it'll be interesting. What it will do is now offensively, it will put Ben in the spot that he's got to set for pick and rolls, which could open up the game. That's what Tobias Harris needs, is pick and rolls. I'm calling for that all season. Like I said, it's going to be interesting because of all that said, we know we're going to get, or at least we think we know we're going to get the Shake Milton lineup now.
Yeah, I think that Shake is going to do really well. I know a lot of.
I hope he does. I mean, a lot of people are rallying behind him too. Adam Schefter today. I actually posted it on our Facebook, facebook.com/warroomphilly #ad. But I'm gonna get the quote up right now because I somehow lost their Facebook page in my plethora of tabs. Let me pull up the Adam Schefter though, talking big. Adam Schefter is like a low key Sixers fan. If you've been following,
he is a low key Sixers fan. He loves Shake. Shake.
He says he's a stud.
Yep.
So no, that's where it is. Brett Brown got smart, putting Ben at power. This is a quote from Adam Schefter. Brett Brown got smart, putting Ben Simmons at power forward, Schefter said. He's going to use Shake Milton as a starter. Shake Milton's got to play. I'm just telling you, that guy's a stud. On my fantasy team, the it factor, the guy can play. It always seems to go back to Shefty's fantasy team and why he's rooting for the Sixers.
I mean,
I'll take it.
I'll take it, and I'll say this. I'm looking at the fact that in that lineup, we're going heavy on our offense, on our starting five, and that means you got your defensive sub-outs coming out. I love the fact that Thibault can be your defensive bring-in. You have a guy like that, Alex Burke, coming in there, who's pretty on the defensive side of the ball. I really enjoy what is happening in that bench area. Seeing, of course, Horford come off the bench is also huge. So I'm all on board with those moves because that means your bench and your starting five are amazingly solid. That's how I feel about it. Even if Shake is only so.
Shake Shack.
Shake Shack. That's just one of his nicknames, actually. Like, that's how I feel. Is that even if you end up with him being so, your bench is really strong. So I'm okay with this idea. I think we're going to see Ben Simmons at that 4 spot. We're going to see him fly down the floor and be able to make some things happen. It frees Embiid up a little bit to be able to take those threes that he likes to do, but we're not losing anything down low because Ben Simmons can defend down low almost as well as Embiid can. And if Ben Simmons magically shows up with any kind of shot, it's going to confuse people. I'm not banking on it. Even if we only get the Ben Simmons we saw before this break, that's phenomenal. Ben Simmons was possibly your best player this season.
Yeah, I would say Richardson was all in all, or maybe he was the glue or like the MVP, like something like that. But yeah, the whole this like Ben Simmons thing, it's gonna be interesting. Look, I don't need him to be popping threes. I just need him to hit his shot from 12 to 14. And what I need him to do most of all is attack that rim at will and hit your free throws. Because if he's hitting his free throws, he's going to attack that rim at will. And that, to me, is his best part of the game. Because even if they're trying to defend it, no one can stop him when he's getting going to that rim. No one can stop him. He's the fastest player on the court.
And he was doing well in the foul shots.
Yeah, and again, like you were saying, toward the end of what is now, or I guess not the end of the regular season, but the end of, the pause, his free throw game was getting there. Now, if it's getting there more and more, and hey, if he drains an open three here and there, all the better. But as far as Simmons goes, he's just got to start hitting that mid-range game. Whether he's at the 1, the 4, I don't care where. And they were even saying, I think I heard something about a lineup that Ben Simmons was in at the 5, which is kind of crazy because it's like Ben Horford's really not seeing any time.
But they were talking about they were messing around with the fast lineup.
Yeah, a small lineup. Yeah, I agree.
Ben Simmons, yes, he would be your 5. You would have Thibault in there. Shake would be in there.
I've always said if Simmons isn't a 1, he's a 5. I meant that too. But yeah. Again, it'll be interesting to see the rotations off the bench. You got Al Horford. Is it going to be Thibault? Is it going to be Burks? Is it going to be Glenn Robinson? Is Furkan going to get any time? Where's Mike Scott playing into this? I
think your first off the bench is Thibault and Horford. Those are the 2 that you're going to see coming off the bench first. Because it's going to be getting Joel Embiid some time out, and it's going to be seeing Tobias defensive substitution-wise getting some time.
Yeah, you're probably right there. And then, like I said, it'll be interesting to see what time guys like Burks or Glenn Robinson get. Furkan, we kind of imagine like he's going to have to hit it close to 40% from 3 to get significant playing time in the playoffs because of his lack of defense. But yeah, and then Mike Scott. Look, Mike Scott has made big shots in his playoff career, but he's been like MIA all year. So we'll see. Ah, see, it did work, Keith. I do look smart. I look astutely in the glasses.
Yeah, well,
I'm mostly just trying to avoid headaches. And since I have a bunch of screens in my face right now, we're giving these a test.
Speaking of glasses, I actually ordered myself a pair of the Edith Tony Stark glasses finally.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I lost my sunglasses, and I'm really upset.
I want to see them
it.
on stream next year or next week.
Yeah, next year that can happen. You never know what's over these days. But yeah, listen, I'll wear them next week. I got no problem with that.
But I'll wear the Peter Parkers. Actually, they make everything blue, and they hurt my eyes. That's like the opposite of what you should be doing if you have migraines. Is putting like these take blue away. Although honestly, if you put them on, they don't distort color much at all, which is really nice. And for the couple days I've been wearing them, at least my eyes feel less dry.
Yeah, that's
we'll see. I haven't really been like gaming much or anything because of just a lot of migraines recently.
I've been gaming and watching Netflix a decent amount right
Yeah,
now.
well, hey, it all ends tomorrow. Sports is back.
It is. That's definitely what's going to end up happening at this point.
Sports is back. So yeah, again, can't wait for Friday. Like I keep saying sports is back tomorrow, and like that's all well and good, but it's not Philly sports. So it's like sports is really back for me Friday. We got Sixers in the afternoon with a scrimmage game. We got real deal Phillies. So I can't wait. Phillies Marlins. This is gonna be the most excited I've ever been for a Phillies Marlins game. But yeah, it's gonna be, and like we said, we know now the weekend set is going to be. We know now that the weekend set is going to be Nola, Wheeler, and Velasquez, and you got Arrieta going against the Yankees.
Listen, I'm so stoked to see baseball back. I'm so stoked for sports to be back. I'm just stoked to be back on the show.
Yeah, it's another little form of normalcy, getting you back in here, Keith. But yeah, it's been a blast. Any final thoughts today, Keith? Chat, anything we missed on? But yeah, we're up at the hour spot, and it's time to wrap up the show. So yeah,
I'm excited. Major sports are all back. We got our big five, if you include MLS, because we have football going to be starting their training camp soon. We got everything else resuming their sports. So
yeah, I think the Unions start their knockout tournament Saturday. Yes, if I'm not, see, I'm telling you guys, I'm trying. I'm trying to get in.
Come on, the U.
I'm not gonna actually watch, but I'm gonna at least start paying attention for my peeps. But yeah, when I was so starved for soccer that I was so starved for sports that I watched soccer all 1.5 games. But yeah, it's been, look, first off, chat, thank you guys all for hanging in here. We're like a couple months without sports, and this page has only grown weirdly. So yeah, it's been fun, but we cannot wait for real sports and real games to start. So yeah, next week we'll be breaking down real deal Phillies games, and then the week after that we'll be breaking down real deal Flyers, Sixers, Phillies games. So stay tuned. You guys know the deal. Twitch.tv/WarRoomPhilly is where you go. Facebook.com/WarRoomPhilly. It's War Room Philly everywhere. Keith, anything else?